Welcome back to the Mandalorian Adventure Solo. We're playing with the Mandalorian and IG-11. Alright, let's continue on our mission. We have, of course, 4 cards to play. We are trying to get through the locked door and rescue or acquire the asset. So we have a 4, we have a 3 calculated risk, we have a 3 +1 damage attack, and a 1. And so, let us figure out what we want to do. We have to play 2 cards. So let's see what we want to do. Let me figure this out. Alright, I think the first card we're going to play is our Mandalorian 4 card. And we're going to do it with Intel. Look at the face down threat within range 4. Or choose to move an enemy within range for 1 space. So let's do a little bit of Intel. We've already done it once. Let's try it again. And the intel we want to do, we've looked at this one already. We know that's a brawler, a melee guy. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take a look at this token and see what this is. And it is, ooh, it's a health pack. Okay, so if you land on there, you can regenerate 1 health. If you're down a health, of course. You can't pick it up, it's just on that location. All right, that was card number 1. Card number 2. I think we're going to go ahead and maybe have IG-11 do some taking out of a unit. Yeah, I think he's going to go ahead and attack right here. And he gets a +1, which he doesn't really need. But anyway, deal 3 +1, 4 damage to the threat within range 1. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, well, this unit is definitely within range 1, so it's your space or within 1. Boom, out of here. Defeated! IG-11 takes out that enemy. Alright, that was playing our 2 cards, and now we take a look at the added up numbers and see if we have 5 or more on any of them. And looking at our numbers, we have 3, 4, 4, and 3. None of them are 5+. So we're not going to get an event, because you need a 5+ for that, nor are we going to have a crisis, which is a 6+. Alright, so we just dropped 2 more cards. We got a couple Mandalorian cards this time. A 1 and a 1 attack. Alright, let me zoom the camera out, and we'll figure out what we're going to do for our next turn. Alright, the first of 2 cards. Oh, and I should say you cannot play the same action 2 times on your turn. So you have to pick different ones. But anyway, we're going to start off with our Mandalorian 1 card, and we're going to move. Yes, we're going to move. I should move. Speaking of moving, let's move these cards out of the way. Alright, so we're going to move. He's just going to move 1 space. That's it, and that's going to be 4, so that's going to be alright. So let's have him move 1 space. Alright, the Mandalorian is just going to move 1 space to here, and now he is 1 away from an enemy. And I should say the enemies that have this symbol on them do 1 damage to you if they're ranged. If you end your movement in their space or 1 space away from them, they will give you a damage. So we're going to be aware of that. This one, of course, doesn't have that, so we don't have to worry about it. Alright, we got a second card to play. And the second card we're going to play is a Mandalorian card, which is a 1, and because we're playing it on the attack location, we get a +1. So 1 +1, we're going to do 2 damage right here against an enemy within range 1. Alright, so we're plodding our way along, and boom, we're picking off this guy, the Mandalorian. He has 2 health. Oh, I should say, yes, this is 2 health. That's what the 2 is. So there we go. Alright, Mandalorian takes care of him. That was our 2 cards played. Once again, we're going to check and see if we got any 5+ in any of our locations. Alright, so take a look at our locations. 4, 3, 4, 5. You do not count the +1 here, so it's 3, 4, 5, 4, and 3. So, yep, this is going to trigger. Now, how this works is the Mandalorian's card is on top, so if something happens, it's going to happen to the Mandalorian, not IG-11. Alright, that token gets discarded. So, yeah, that's what's going to happen. So, we are going to trigger an event. And we don't know what it is this time because the top of the event deck is the question mark, so anything can happen. Well, let's see what it is. Alright, top of the deck. So we did not have Crisis yet. We would be adding tokens there, but we're not. Oh, another mystery. And the mystery is flip the nearest face down threat face up. Not through locked doors. Okay, so this is going to be the closest threat token to the Mandalorian is going to flip up. So let's take a look at the board and see which one that is. And the threat tokens are these ones or this, but they are through a locked door anyway. So this one's 1, 2, 3 away. This one's 1, 2, 3, 4 away. This token is going to flip up, and we know it is a health pack. So it's actually a good thing. So it's just going to sit there. We know what it is now. It's flipped up. So that's how that works. Okay. And of course, that was our turn. So we've got 2 cards in hand. And we're going to be drawing 2 more cards off the deck. Wow, it's all IG-11. Okay. It looks like IG-11 is going to be doing his 2 cards this time because he's the only one with cards. We got dual blasters. We're performing this attack action, split your damage between 2. We got emergency repairs, heal a damage from any character in your space. If you put that onto the planning, this one you have to put on the attack. This is just a straight 1. And we have calculated risk 3. If you put it on intel, you get the text. You don't, again, you can play these cards on anything. You don't even have to do what it says. You have to play 2 cards, but you don't even have to do anything. You can just play a card down somewhere and say, I'm not doing anything. So, but you must play 2 cards. All right, let me think about that. We're going to come back and we're going to have IG-11 doing 2 cards because he's the only one that's got cards right now. All right, so the first card we're going to play is he's just going to play a 1 for movement. He's just plodding along. It's going to be 3, 4, 5. It's going to trigger. However, we'll get rid of that nice, juicy, big token out of there. So let's move IG-11 1 space. And IG-11 is just going to tag along with the Mandalorian. He's going to move into the same space. All right, card number 2 to be played. So let's figure out what he's going to do there. And we're living dangerously with IG-11. He's actually going to spend this card for intel. No, he's not, or not intel. He's going to do it for planning. He's not going to do it for intel. So we're going to draw 3 cards off of this deck. 1, 2, 3. And because it's a 3, draw the number of planning cards. You may keep 1, place 1 on top of the deck, discard the others. So, retaliate, strategize, retaliate. So we're going to keep retaliate. After an enemy deals you damage, even if you block it, discard this to deal 2 damage to that enemy. Wow. So we're going to keep retaliate for IG-11. We're going to discard... we'll discard strategize, and we'll put the other retaliate on top of the deck because we know the Mandalorian doesn't have that. All right, now we have to take a look. Those are 2 cards played and see if anything triggers, and yeah, it does. All right, we start from the left and we move to the right. Yes, here we have 3, 4, 5. So we remove the token. That gets out of here, and the 2 cards, and whatever happens will be affecting IG-11. Of course, well, they're both together. All right, let's take a look. That was 5. Was it not? Yes, that was 5. So we will be going ahead and doing an event. Event card time. It's a mystery card, so we don't know what's up. And we get Thermal Detonator. Oh, man. Deal 1 damage to any character. To any character. Okay. You know what? We're going to deal that damage to the Mandalorian. Why are we dealing it to the Mandalorian? Because the Mandalorian has, when you are dealt damage, discard this to block 1. So, the Mandalorian, IG-11 triggers a detonation, thermal detonator, on the Mandalorian, but his armor soaks it. Alright, we're not finished yet. We still have another one to do. Yeah, well, we got nothing here. We got 4 here, and we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Uh-oh. We have Crisis and an event. The event, of course, may happen to IG-88, but first we have a crisis to deal with. And how we deal with the crisis is we put one of these tokens here. If ever you get 3 tokens here, then you will spawn a reinforcement in the star space with the fewest enemies. But that hasn't happened yet. We just have our first one. Uh-oh, melee. Well, we do have a melee guy out there. So, all melee guys are going to move 3. Now, this is going to happen to... everything will happen to IG-88. sadly, because he's the top of the deck there, the triggered. So all melee units are going to move 3 spaces towards our nearest characters, and then one of them at range 0 will do a damage. So let's do this card. You know what? This is actually pretty good because he's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4 away. So he's just going to go 1, 2, 3 to here, and then he would attack in 0 range, but he didn't make it. And how these cards work is if you can do anything on the card at all, then you don't have to spawn an enemy. But if we couldn't move any, if there was no melee characters on the board at all, let's say, then we would spawn a new enemy into one of the star spaces. There, that was actually not too bad. All right, I think we need to draw 2 more cards, of course, in the turn. And on top of the deck, okay, we're back to Mandalorian a little bit. We have another IG-11. All right, we have Sneak Attack for the Mandalorian. We have their Fire with IG-11. Wow, we got all kinds. Wow, we have so many special cards. All right, I'm going to have to digest this. We'll come back, have 1 more turn. All right, the first card we're going to play is a move card. We're going to do a Mandalorian card. He's going to be able to move 2, but he's got Sneak Attack because he's playing this, so we get to do the text. Move. So deal 2 damage to an enemy in your space. Use this before resolving enemy abilities. Okay, cool. So we're going to move 2, and we get to deal 2 damage to an enemy in our space. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, we can move 2, so we're actually just going to move, it says up to 2, so we're going to move in here, and then we're going to deal 2 damage to an enemy in our space. So he has 4 health, so we've done him 2 damage. All good. All right, we have 1 more card to play. And our final card is going to be an IG-88. He is just going to go ahead and play this. But not in the, he's not going to get synergy, he's not going to get the text on the card. He's going to play it as a 2, which you can do. He's going to play it into the attack. Deal X damage to the threat within range 1. So he's going to deal 2 damage to an enemy within range 1. I wonder who he's going to shoot at. Let's get to it. Yeah, it's no surprise. IG-88 is going to do 2 more damage to this guy. 4 total. He is out of here. Destroyed! Alright, so we're whittling down the enemies pretty handily, I think. Alright, that's the end of that. I'm going to back the camera out. We're going to draw a couple more cards for our next turn, and I think we might be wrapping it up. But we have to take a look and see if we're going to trigger anything. And taking a look here, we have 2, 2, and 4, and nothing. We're not triggering anything, so these are the 2 cards in our hand. So let's grab a couple more cards off top of the deck. 1, 2. Wow, lots of Mandalorian coming up now. And what do we have? We have a basic 4, emergency repairs, dual blasters, and we have this attack. Instead of performing this action, instead of the attack, deal 3 damage to a target, to a threat exactly 3 range. Huh. Okay, I kind of like that. That's, I like it. Alright, that is the cards, which we'll be using for next time. I'm going to zoom the camera out, and we'll wrap it up for today. Alright, well, that's going to wrap up our episode for today of Mandalorian Adventures. We're doing Mission 1, which is Bounty on Arvala 7. We've whittled down some enemies. We know this is a melee guy. We don't want to deal with him. So either this one, or this one are one of the 2 code cards, key cards we need to get through the locked door to go in here and try and retrieve the objective. So that's going to be it. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your comments, subscriptions, likes. Mandalorian Adventures, Mission 1, Bounty on Arvala 7. Hope you join me tomorrow for the continuation.